I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wonderful, thank you. And then just a review of our district vision and priorities. It's our new one that got approved last meeting. So Greene County Community School District, in partnership with its communities, will promote lifelong learners through real-world experiences. And those priorities will be academic excellence, recruit and retain quality staff, resource management, and community relations. Please call the roll.
I didn't pick that up off the copier.
What's that?
I didn't pick up my list off the copier.
You want me to go get it?
I can go get it, but,
Here, I'll go get it.
oh, okay, thanks. McConnell. Fields, here. Fisher.
Here.
Dominic.
Here.
Silva.
Here. Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
Move we approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Silva.
Okay, now's the time for open forum. If there's anyone here that would like to speak about items that aren't on the agenda, now would be a good time to do that. Anyone online? Brent?
We do have a lot of people online. but,
Nobody raising their hand? Okay,
That's a great question. Nobody's raising their hand.
okay. All right, we'll move on to consent items. Has everyone had a chance to review those, I hope?
Yep.
Do we?
I'll move we approve the consent items.
I will second that. All right, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. All right, moving right on along here to old business. So this would be the middle school roof project.
I just wanted to update you on the timeline and how it kind of moved just a little bit. We've got, those bids are out there, and he'll have a pre-bid meeting here on the 26th, and then at the next, then the bids are due on the 10th, and then at the next meeting, you'll formally approve things, so.
One of the big pieces there is we wanted to try to push the construction timeline up and kind of get that into the middle of April. But we really pushed them back to the last day or beyond with students. So we didn't have that disruption going on I would assume that beginning of construction may be just when they bring materials to site, but we'll get a better or more clear picture of what that is once it actually kind of unfolds a little bit. They still estimated it was going to be about 2 to 3 weeks, but who knows?
Okay. Good timeline.
How many bids do we expect to get?
Depends on what Garland is able to get. They might only have one. They might only have one, or they might have multiples. Hopefully, we have multiples to consider.
Just curious.
Okay. And then we are at the second reading of Board Policy 804.07 through 804.07R for radon mitigation, I think. Yeah.
I will move to approve the second reading of Board Policy 804.07 through 804.070R1, radon mitigation.
I will
Second.
second that. Michelle, I'm gonna say Michelle second.
Yeah, that's fine. That's,
Okay,
that's
we
fine, yeah.
Please call the roll.
Fisher.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Silva.
Moving right along. Reports and correspondence, superintendent's report.
So we are obviously not recognizing students and staff just because of the delay that was called today. Thankfully, it snowed. They look like a good decision.
Finally.
I was sweating just a little bit on that one. Just a few different updates that we have here. So with our Stop Finder GPS that's going in our buses, we should be putting out information here in the next couple of weeks once we kind of get routes and stops confirmed, consistent. probably want to make sure that we're going to test that at the school level first, just to make sure that we're pushing out an acceptable product to our community members. Brent and Grisma and Jill Moray working together on communication to ensure that gets out. Last night we held an adult Canva class at the Career Academy. Had really great attendance there. It was put on by Kelly Gray. Kind of a really cool thing for our school district is that we were invited to the Summit on Student Success, which is a 1.5-day conference in April to kind of be able to tell our story, share our mission and vision, and share the great things that we have going on in Greene County, and most specifically with our Career Academy. So I'm actually meeting with a member of the IASB tomorrow just to get a little bit more information on that, and I'll share that out once I have that.
Do you have your panel
No.
filled?
No.
Or you want to meet with the people tomorrow first?
No, that's I'm meeting with the IASB tomorrow,
Okay.
just to kind of figure out what is that time frame going to look like for us, and just kind of what the whole really what they want us to go after, and just to try to give us the opportunity for us to plan for what that time is going to look like. The school safety capital improvement grant, which was there's about $85 million in funds that was established by our governor. It has now kind of turned into a big hurry up and wait process so far. We've completed everything that we need to on our end with our application, how we're going to use the funds, going through some other different checklists, giving them all different policies that they were asking for, but we're still just waiting on that assessment to come back. We had that done just before Thanksgiving. So it's about a 10 to 12 week time period for that to come back. So we're getting close anyway. It's there's a lot of hoops to jump through for us to be able to get that. A couple more things. So we've had career exploration camps at our Career Academy. They've been really popular with our 1st through 3rd and then 4th through 8th grade kids. They've been consistently full. We have wait lists for each one of them. And we're actually going to hold another round of culinary camp because that was such a popular thing for the young kids. And then the last thing that I'll update here is Karen Sandberg and I met this morning, and we selected a couple of different date options for a SIAC meeting. So we'll be reaching out to some of our past committee members and just kind of get an availability and pull everybody together to do SIAC. So SIAC is a acronym for School Improvement Advisory Committee. So, and that is all I have.
Awesome, thank you. Any other board committee reports? Christmas season, it's a little slow.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other administrative reports?
Should the share be
Yeah.
available too?
Yeah, any questions or comments on those that we all saw?
You will notice a difference between those. They're now all aligned to our 4 strategic priorities. So-
Much better to
Much,
read.
Yes.
So, so each of our administrators will be adding those, adding them in there in alignment with those strategic priorities.
I just want to make a comment on the slide with the Career Academy under the community relations. I had one of my coworkers attended a tour that was given by Teresa Greene, her sorority, and she had nothing but good, super positive things to say about what we're doing, how Teresa's presenting the Career Academy, both to that group and then to the community as well. So
Great.
good job.
Love it.
And I was gonna commend Brent on your side. When you brought technology into the kids to see how Anne Frank would have lived, that just blows my mind. I love that. I would love to do that. Neat. Okay. Any other reports or correspondence?
The only other one I was gonna say is about
Yeah.
the middle school. It did say, on resource management, as being a former high school, they wanted to possibly do a playground there. And I would say any information or anything that can be brought to us of what plans that might be, that would be great. But
Yeah, we would just like.
what the ideas are, if the middle school has something that they want to come and present us, we'd greatly appreciate looking at that.
and curious on the scope, if we're talking soccer nets or playground, like it could go far, so,
Right.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I would like to see a plan or a vision of what that is meant to look like before I would ever present it to our board for consideration.
okay. Any other reports or correspondence? There's none linked. And I didn't have any fundraiser follow-ups
No.
that were in there,
no.
so, okay. Moving on along to school driving permits. Okay, Brent, this is where I might need your help. Do we have people online here tonight, I'm guessing?
We do.
Okay, and do we have,
I think I have 2 students, maybe. There's one on a phone, I believe, and then I think there's also one other one.
Okay.
Let me do this.
Bryce
So-
Timmons is one if you want to start with.
Isaiah
So-
Schwarman, maybe?
Isaiah,
Brent, we're gonna, our, kids, we're gonna go ahead and have Brent unmute you as it goes. So it looks like I have on here Colton Kraus, Isaiah Sharman, Bryce Timmons, and Austin Smith.
And I actually can't unmute, they have to mute themselves.
They have, so you guys have to unmute yourself. So if you guys can go on in there, if you're there. Colton,
Who do you want
Right.
first?
can I just do them all at once or should I not?
It'll all
Colton
start
Kraus, are you on there? Unmute your phone if you are, okay? Moving on. Isaiah Sharman, are you on there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so I just am gonna ask your name, where you live, and why you need a school permit. So if you wanna take time now to share that with us, that would be great.
All right. I'm Isaiah Sharman. I'm a freshman at Greene County High School, and I live in Jefferson. And my mom works out of town, and I'm involved in like school activities like football, and like we have 6:15 like early morning lifts at the school. So it's kind of a hassle like to get my mom up out of bed and like have her take me to those and take me to like my games and all that stuff. So that's probably one of the main reasons why.
Okay, thanks for sharing. If you wanna go ahead and mute yourself, and then we'll ask the next person. Bryce Timmons, if you're on there, go ahead and unmute. And same thing, just your name, where you live, and why you need a school permit. Bryce, are you there?
Since I see him signed in, we can make alternative arrangements.
Okay.
There.
Hey, I'm here.
Okay, Bryce, if you just want to share why you need a school permit and where you live, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Bryce Timmons. I live out by Squirrel Hollow, and I need a school permit because I live pretty far away from the school, and it's a hassle getting to school and back when both my parents are working all day, and I need to get home to feed livestock and do chores.
Okay, very good, thank you. And then Austin, if you're on there, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself.
I think she's one that we didn't connect with directly. Jill left a message.
Okay.
So is Colton that other one?
Is there anybody else on there?
I think Jill's message said that she had.
Okay, if nobody else is on there for school permits, we'll go move to approve the 2 unless anyone else wants to unmute and share.
Colton, are you sure you're not there?
Please Colton be there.
Colton,
After this past month.
Okay, I'll start reading my thing, but please interrupt me if you're on there and want to get a school permit, okay? Okay, so I'm just gonna read a few things. Now, you are required to follow all laws, and that's your responsibility to know all of those. But some of the highlights is you cannot drive from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So if you're gonna arrive late, then make sure you make alternate arrangements so you're not driving past your time. You need to take the most direct route to and from school. You can stop for fuel, but it needs to be the closest filling station.
Isaiah raised his hand.
I'm gonna keep going. When you're driving without adult supervision, you can only have one passenger with you that's not a relative, and that means someone that lives in your home. You cannot use your cell phone or any other device while you're on there. If you have a violation, your license gets suspended, then this will get revoked. Remember that.
Yeah, process.
Remember that others are watching, and Amy or Colton Kraus, if you guys are on there, we're just asking the school permit kids to unmute and say why they need to get a school permit and where they live. So if he wants to share that, I'll give you just a second to track him down and unmute. And then just remember that others are watching, and so you want to make sure that you're following all the rules that you need to. Okay,
What do they do to get their?
Hold on 1 second. I found him.
very good. All right, hey Colton.
Hello.
So if you could share why you need a school permit and where you live, that would be great.
Yeah. I live in Dana, Iowa, and this would be good for me because I have livestock to feed when I get home and chores, and both my parents work really hard, and that's why I need a school permit.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so to get that signed, they can bring it into the district office. So you guys have a DOT form, and there's one available in the office, so you'll need to get that signed in the office now that you presented to the board. So do we have a motion to approve those 3 for a school permit today?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Fields,
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Dominic,
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Thank you.
Isaiah might have a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
Isaiah.
Oh, Isaiah, yes. Yep, go ahead, Isaiah.
Okay, so since like football, like sometimes when we have away games, like it could get like late at night. Like what if like because you said 10 p.m. to like 5 a.m. like there's no driving. What happens if we get home at like 12 from the bus
So
again?
you would need to make alternate arrangement with a parent, guardian, or adult to get that vehicle home at another time. If you do choose to drive it, then that's off the time frame, and if you get pulled over, your license could get revoked. It's kind of up to the police officer at that point. So we tell you the rules, and I hope you follow them best you can.
All right.
All right, good luck. Yes, you could.
I was just wondering if we have a copy,
Mhm.
sign it,
We'll
and
do
then they can
that.
fill it in.
Okay.
Just this
Something to keep in
is kind of
mind.
an exception.
Yep, so we're just talking because of weather, we'll go ahead and you guys can come into the district office to get that signed. And then you guys can take it up to the courthouse to get that taken care of, so. Any other questions, just let the district office know tomorrow and we'll get those answered for you, okay? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
All right, moving on along to any fundraiser requests.
No, so. Oh, yeah.
There's one.
And we have one. Oh, yep. For a bake sale, do we have a motion to approve the fundraiser request?
I so move to approve the fundraising requests.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Please call the roll.
Dominic,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields,
Aye.
Silva.
Oh, there we go. So now we're looking at 2023 softball and baseball contracts.
Was there a reason why this was pulled out? Because we did already approve.
So-
You've not approved contracts for those.
So these contracts we didn't offer when we offered other ones because they were still in the middle of their season. So we
Right.
waited for their
Some of them are
season to be
renewals.
done.
Got ya. Sorry.
So that's why these contracts are being separate. And it looks like we filled all but maybe one middle school assistant. So
Thank you.
any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the softball, baseball contracts?
I'll move we approve the softball, baseball contracts as stated.
Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields,
Aye.
Dominic,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. Let me close some tabs here real quick, get my brain thinking here. Sorry, I don't mean to move so fast, but we're organized here today. Okay, now we're looking at the Heart of Iowa Activities Conference and Mission prices.
Yeah, just to give you a little bit of historical perspective there, if you click on the link that says more info, Mr. Wright put together just a 20-year cost sample. So just as a example there, you know, football per official used to be $55 and we only needed 4, and now we need 5 at a cost of $150 per official. So prices there have increased by 3 and almost 4 times the amount of what we're used to there. Volleyball's doubled, cross country is nearly quadrupled. So the Hoyak ADs, when they were together at the end of last week, and proposed that they increase the cost of admission to $6. So for high school and middle school events, so those would come up. One of the other things that they talked about, which is maybe a bit of a touchy subject, is they are wanting to potentially move all across the conference to using the virtual ticketing system. So buying your tickets online ahead of time and going away from cash. So that is, we're not looking to approve anything like that by any means, but I just a food for thought.
Is that a decision that is, the individual schools can make within the conference, or is that a conference wide?
We can make those decisions on unilaterally.
And then the other thing is, I was reading in his report was that there's card readers too, so you can still have a credit card.
Yeah, you can swipe it.
Because that's where,
Yeah.
like,
We have the
hence
option.
my father-in-law who's technology challenged.
Yes. Yeah. And we have the option to
He
do
can
that
use his
already
credit card.
in a couple of different avenues as it is, so
Yeah.
it's probably not too far away from being a fairly cashless society, but as of right now, we're just looking at
And conference meets, and that is already today.
Okay,
yeah,
so we,
anything postseason, yeah.
so we need a motion to approve the increase to $1 more.
Mhm.
And then I think middle school adults right now is 3, so that'd be an increase to 5,
Mhm.
and students would still be free.
Still be free.
So do we have a motion to increase the price from $5 to $6 for adults, and then middle school from 3 to 5? For starting next
It'd be-
school
yep,
year.
It'd be next season, next school year.
So move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and another quick question, are almost everybody in our conference going to this or voting on this too? So this will be seen, and, okay,
It'll be conference wide.
unless their own school boards deny it tonight,
They could.
or whenever they have their meetings, okay,
They could, but
But-
usually a conference
Try to-
just tends to
stay together.
be as similar as possible.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, please call the roll.
Dominic.
Aye.
Connell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. Okay, and then this is the first reading of graduation requirements. From redoing the graduation requirements, we're just tweaking and improving based on what needs to be in there with advice that we get. And so this is kind of a working document that we keep improving on. And do you want to talk to the changes a little bit?
Yep, so there was 4 there, so we.
Second page, Brent might have something, or bottom of the first, middle of the first.
So it
There we
should
go,
be in
red.
red
So
crossed
we
out.
cleaned up the required list by including all that is really required. Some just were missed in previous revisions. We shifted the name of the speech class to reflect what it is currently called, which is public speaking. As credit requirements have shifted the past couple of times, the further credit section hadn't been updated completely. So that was brought up to date. And every time I say it's Karen Sandberg. So, Karen added a paragraph similar to the special education paragraph to ensure that we encompassed ELL, or English language learning students. This just allows us to evaluate what they have done when they come to us, and so we can help them build a plan toward graduation for them, no matter when they might happen to arrive. So if we were to get a student in the middle of 10th grade, for example, they come with minimal to no credits, it wouldn't be impossible for them to still be able to graduate should they continue to stay with us through the end of their senior year.
I think Karen is on too. Yeah.
She is, yep.
Well, I will make a motion to approve the first reading of the revised policy 505.5 graduation requirements.
I will second that.
Okay, please call the roll.
Fisher,
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields,
Aye.
Dominic,
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. Okay, SBRC request for administrative costs.
This is our consortiums that we send kids to. Grandwood and Woodward Academy are both run by the Woodward Granger School District. They're the fiscal agent, but all the schools have to pay their share based on what your enrollment is compared to the rest. And you can't use special ed dollars without getting approval. You can't use special ed dollars for administrators without SBRC approval, and that's what this is.
And the change is, in enrollment? Or,
No, every year you have to.
oh,
approve
okay,
it.
this is just our annual.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
We're getting to where we've done things before.
Yeah.
Like,
was
I remember doing this stuff because we've been here more than a year now.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah, this was one of the
Right,
first
right.
things we
And the
did.
far,
Yep.
the far right
Right.
and down is the amount I need you to approve for each of them. There's two separate ones.
Do you need the amount stated in your
Yes.
motion?
Yeah.
So then we would be, do you want to go? We're looking for a motion for the light blue box.
Yeah, so, or green or whatever it is.
So let's go
yeah.
ahead and start with a motion for the Greenwood Consortium.
Move we approve the SBRC request of $17,211.33 for Grandwood Consortium. And
I will second that.
So we have a motion and a second for the first one. Please call roll.
Fields,
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Dominic,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. Okay, and then same thing for Woodward.
I'll make a motion to approve the administrative costs for Woodward Academy in the amount of $754.93.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Dominic,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields,
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. Gonna take a second to close some tabs. Okay, now we are looking at a draft. So it says in big bold letters at the top, draft.
Very important.
And very important, draft.
Very, very, very important.
So this is something, 2023-24 official school calendar draft.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Brett take the floor.
So I pulled together an advisory committee, which I told you guys about during our last board meeting. And this was one of the topics that we talked about. So I cleaned things up and just made things a little bit more transparent than our previous calendar that you would have noticed, just really highlighting when it's beginning and end of trimester, and just identifying what are holidays and what are vacation days, what are no school days, PD work days, all that stuff. A couple of the changes that you'll notice is that our hours for the 22-23 calendar year, which is this year, we are at 1,204 hours. Next year, we will be at 1,148. The change there is reflective upon the professional development and doing a 2-hour early release. So on the calendar as a draft, I have as on doing Mondays as a 2-hour early release for professional development. I'm not hard and fast on it has to be Monday. It's got to be one day. So my current option is Monday with another option being Wednesday. I had Mr. Wright run some numbers for me just to see how much that would impact activities and coaches, specifically on Mondays. The impact was so minimal to the point that Monday would be just fine. Wednesday, I guess the difference there is that we do not have activities, just practices. Might be a little easier to align with churches and some of their after-school activities they have. This would not be new to our community as it was done last school year. I'm just bringing it back. Just feedback that I've got from teachers and from our administrators is that professional learning from 1 month to the next there's too big of a gap in what's happening. So learning doesn't remain systemic across the entire school year.
Last year, wasn't there just dedicated days to do that every trimester? Wasn't there like a day a
Or no
trimester?
school days.
Yeah,
Like
like
a-
Yeah.
every third Monday, basically, it seemed like we basically didn't have school. And that kind of goes away, or do we still kind of have a day here and there?
So we will still, so all those yellow days are still PD and or work days.
Okay.
So we'll still have full days in there to be able to still do some longer learning during those period of times, or provide staff opportunities to work and get caught up on the things that they need to work and get caught up on.
Mhm.
A couple of, I guess I'll call them popular ones, were the time specifically right after the new year. So
Mhm.
coming back that Thursday and Friday, having that time just to get yourself sorted and gathered prior to students coming back on the 8th there. So that would, I heard a lot of really positive feedback around that. And then the 18th, coming back after a week-long spring break, to have that Monday to, again, collect yourself, get ready for kids coming back.
Mhm.
And we're not spending, teachers rather, are not spending time during their vacation planning lessons or preparing for students to come back. It gives them that opportunity to be able to do that. So,
I don't remember, were there 5 days prior to the school year beginning last year? for
This year
teachers?
there were 6. So
Oh,
this is-
okay,
this
so
is-
that hasn't really changed, okay.
No, that is the exact same there.
One of the questions I think we had before when it was early Wednesday, we did the same thing. And kind of the reason why we pushed away from it was because 2 hours isn't enough time. Because we moved the kids out, now we got 2 hours. How much can you productively get done in 2 hours?
I'll give you some perspective on that. So in my previous district, for the time that I was there, we released an hour and 40 minutes early. And so we released at 2:05. Our typical day with students would end at 3:45, but our work day went till 4 o'clock. So we would release at 2:05. Teachers would have 25 minutes to take care of anything they needed to take care of, make copies, make phone calls, whatever they had to do, get students to where they needed to be. We would use our paraeducators to help support there so that teachers could come back and get ready to go start learning again. And I'd have all teachers in our media center by 2:30, ready to go for an hour and a half. So it was a lot of time. When you think about that hour and a half, every single week, it turned out to be quite a bit of time. I think it's going to take some thoughtful planning with our administrators and with the amount of staff that we do have in each building.
And that's probably where it got lost before, is it just wasn't logistically set up properly to work.
And as a parent, I just pictured teachers in the room for 2 hours doing what they need to, but this is
This is
intentional time with their principals, I assume.
So it'd be principal led,
PLCs.
And yep, and
principal led
everybody,
PD, PLCs, coaches.
yep, all that. Okay.
So that would be what that time is used for. So I'll go back through some.
And has your advisory committee, they helped with this, or who was the helpers here?
With the calendar.
Mhm.
So I created the calendar and presented it to the advisory committee.
Okay.
And then got feedback and input from them. So I'm going to go through some of the other ones that they gave.
Okay, yeah.
So there was a concern that came up from one of the schools that there were other districts around us that were doing 180 hours less school time than us. So I reviewed 6 other districts around us: ACGC, Perry, Sadell, Southeast Valley, Carroll, and Ogden. And they range anywhere from 1,106 hours up to 1,158 hours. So with us being at 1,146, we're kind of right in the middle. So, and in fact, if they were doing 180 hours less than what we were this school year, they would actually not be meeting state minimum requirement. So, which would be kind of impossible there. I sent out a survey to staff. So far I've had, so far I've had 142 responses. It was in concern to the spring break. It was in the advisory committee, they posed a question of, do we want a week long or do we want to kind of shore it up and maybe do two longer weekends kind of deal? And right now it's about 63-37 to just keep the full week of spring break. So I just recommend they stick and stay on that. It's what our community is used to as well. There was a request to reduce the number of PD days. Steve kind of alluded to that at the beginning of the year. right now we have 6. I do think six is a lot. However, you have to think about, because it's a contractual day. So if you think about, if we remove a day at the beginning, we have to add it somewhere. And if we add it anywhere within the calendar year, that means we're pushing our student day back, which then right now we have our student day scheduled to end on May 24th. If we add any days or push any days back, that means students would come back for 1 day after Memorial Day. Assuming that we do not have enough snow days, that means that we have to make up student hours. So far, knock on wood, we're good this year. The other piece to adding days at the end of the year is if we have years where we might have a lot of snow days where we have to make them up. And so if we're building in chunks of days after that Memorial Day, then that's just going to push staff here longer when they may, I don't want to say they're not going to have anything to do, but when they may not have, it gets tricky. You know, this calendar is intentionally designed with the anticipation of snow days. As of right now, we're looking at making up 2 days as it is. So we will be, so I don't see a point in doing the rock Peter to pay Paul thing. You know, we have options to be able to kind of make better use of those 6 days at the beginning of the school year than what we have them.
Keep them before we get kids. Yeah, okay.
Would be my recommendation at this point. There was also a request to have a day in between trimesters for grading and next trimester prep. With trimester 2 beginning November 13th, trimester 3 beginning February 26th. An option would be giving up the 2 PD and work days that are before Thanksgiving. And this would, it would shift trimesters a little bit. So right now, the way it's set up is trimester 1 is 56 and then tri 2 and 3 are both 58 days. By doing that, what I'm saying there as an option is to have students come to school on the 20th and 21st of November and have the 13th of November be a work day or PD day, and then have the 26th of February be a PD work day. It was presented as an option.
The high school is still the only one on trimesters. The middle school and
Middle school's on
elementary are both on quarters or semesters.
The elementary is on trimesters.
The elementary is on trimesters.
The middle school is the only one on quarters.
Do we just not notice because they don't get report cards?
Yeah, so we report 3 times a year with our elementary.
Huh.
Mhm. We're not going to talk about trimesters.
No, I was just wondering. No, just wondering.
Just gonna.
Conversation's
Okay.
drifting.
So
That one
this
right
is
there.
a draft. We're not voting on anything tonight. This is just to
Well-
get it in the public.
You're really supposed to set a public hearing.
Okay.
Yep, so if we're gonna set a public hearing on this, that means that the calendar as is presented is going to be what is going to go for a public hearing, then we would approve in February. If there were to be no adjustments, and if there's things that we want to clean up and have look different, I can do that, and then we just essentially push it back another month, and we do our public hearing in February, and we approve in March. I don't want to say it's not a big deal, and it is a big deal, but
Do you think you've gotten enough feedback or as much feedback as you're gonna get from?
yeah, so I had each of my committee members go out and ask, and I've heard back from each level. And administrators have had their eyes on it as well. So I believe I've got enough feedback from it. I think the more we do it, I think it's just the more variations you're gonna get of a very, very similar product.
And I guess I'm leaning towards waiting just 1 month. And I think the reason is parents, I just want them to wrap their head around it for a second.
Well, that would be the public, so
The public, it could still change.
And then we could approve it in February. No, once, this would either be it, or we'd be making some sort of adjustment based on that feedback and input.
Mhm.
So if we're making some adjustment based on what I've shared, then we push this whole process back another month.
Which is not the worst thing ever, or it.
No, but if we're not gonna change this and it's going to stay as is,
Mhm.
then
Post a public hearing.
then we post for public hearing and then we approve in February.
And we could change based on the public hearing if we wanted to.
We could, but then again, everything would get moved back another month again.
Mhm.
Then we just be approving in March.
There's really nothing in this that needs to change, is there?
I don't think so.
No, other than parents wrapping their head around an early out again, just
Oh,
giving them time to process it, but it's not that we're gonna change, or I don't think there will be an uproar, but
So this would be,
If we tell them in February, that's.
They haven't decided.
Yeah.
well, without having the decision made, whether it's gonna be Monday or Wednesday.
which I can adjust that before we put it for public hearing.
we can
Right
still
now?
change
Yeah, we
that.
can decide right now.
Yeah. I don't,
It's supposed to be a public, meeting held in the public with the public to come, but
nobody
I
comes.
would like to hear what parents or what questions might be, I guess, for Wednesday versus Monday. I feel like that's something, it's always the things like this that it seems like we hear about maybe more as board members.
So one of the things that we can do is we can table it and I can put out a survey to our community.
I don't know about that. I feel like if they have a strong enough opinion, they'll call up one of us to let us.
So we're not, so 6 of one, half dozen the other.
Yeah, are we really gonna change
We
based on
approve the
that?
first reading, they can still call us and we can still postpone it another month. and make
Yeah,
a
okay,
change.
see, that's what I'm making
Or
sure.
we
it can still
postpone
be
it a month and we
flexed.
have to
And let's
broadcast
take it
it
to public.
as a
hearing.
draft.
Okay,
and an
I
opinion.
get what you're saying.
So
I
we
think
need a
just go ahead and
motion
Do it. and see
So
what happens.
somebody,
to post it for,
Public
this board
Public
sounds like they
hearing.
have
Yeah, I'll
some
make that
emotion they
motion.
wanna,
at the next board meeting.
How we do it.
Public
Yeah.
hearing at the next board meeting.
public meeting, yeah.
So we're
yeah,
gonna delay
Hearing.
it.
For the
unless
next board
there's
meeting.
problems, and then we can put it off another.
So we have a motion for a public hearing at the February board meeting on the calendar.
Second.
And we have a second. So now
So how that's not how we wanted that. Do we want to approve that now?
we have to
We have
take
to
it to a
approve-
public
All,
hearing.
all
No,
you're
I know,
approving
we're
now
approving
is
a public
holding the
hearing.
public hearing.
For the-
You're not approving the calendar
No, he said for
necessarily.
February.
What?
He said approve a public hearing for February.
For the February board meeting.
Yeah.
To take this.
To
step
hold
to-
a public hearing.
Okay, so then can we approve it in February or just still
Can.
put us to March?
You can, you can approve it right after the public
Okay.
hearing, or you can delay, it's up to you.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
yes,
We're
Gives
doing
us
the right
time,
step for
though,
the
if we go
quickest
ahead
way.
and set the public hearing now, then it gives us an extra month if
And then
needed.
February 15th. Okay. See where I was going with that. Okay, call the roll, please.
okay, McConnell.
Aye.
Fields,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Benedict.
Aye.
Silva.
Hi. Okay, and then we're gonna review board policy 406.1 and 407.3, or 407.3. I know this was just done, but I didn't.
We didn't make any
No changes, I
suggested,
didn't see.
recommended changes.
This is all on resolutions.
I would move to approve board policies 406.1 through 407.3 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Fisher.
Aye.
Benedict.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. Okay, and then we get to physical plant and equipment levy. Just to kind of get this out in front of people that will be,
It's just to start talking about it. So our voted PEPAL or physical plant and equipment levy expires at the end of next school year. So at the end of fiscal year 24. So just some information about what our voted PEPAL is. So right now our voted PEPAL is at a tax rate of $1.03 per thousand. So every year that generates a little over $700,000 for our school. I think of PEPAL or our physical plant and equipment levy in three different ways, which is for buildings, buses, and technology. Technology on things that are in the classroom, and then those non-instructional software pieces. So just to give you some examples of some of the things that we purchased from a non-instructional software. So thinking about Frontline, which is where we do absence management and our time and attendance for our classified staff. We use it for Infinite Campus, FlexiSched for the high school, with our Jefferson Telecom lease, supporting our highest need students, Woodward, Granger, Grandwood, Manson, Northwest Webster. That all comes from there. Just this year, just thinking about how we've used it in our buildings with those A phones, which is our door security cameras. that we approved earlier this year. The fire sprinkler system in the middle school was a couple $100,000 project that was approved last year. We got some new flooring in our wrestling room over here in the middle school. Resurfacing the maintenance of our football field was also PEPAL. Purchase of scoreboards. On a technology standpoint, we've purchased security cameras most recently in the elementary. We've used it for Clever Touch devices in the elementary and middle school. We also approved a classroom set of Chromebooks. On the vehicle and buses side, we've used it for bus engine rebuilding, purchase of new buses. We recently purchased a snow pusher for our maintenance, and we're looking at updating a van that we use for specific transportation routes. So just to give you some comparisons from the Heart of Iowa Conference, thinking about what their voted PEPAL amount is. So at the low end is a school like Perry. They have their tax rate is at 42 cents, up to the high end of which is Sadell. They're at $1.34, which is the highest you can possibly go. Where we're sitting right at $1.03. So when we look at voting on this, we would probably look at doing this during the general election, which will be in November. We have the option to be able to do it in September, but I think about the time frame of that and how quickly we can get information out to the public about what all of this is and what it really goes for. So
Can I interject one
please,
thing?
of course.
Usually you go ahead and approve through the vote the $1.34, and then you decide each year how much you're actually gonna levy. And so that's what he was talking about, the $1.04 is what we have levied this year.
So we'll put together a kind of like a campaign. It's really more about information, just to inform rather than advocate so much. One of the things that I'll really try to get on board, or just at least get a lot of information out to, is our teachers. Teachers will be a huge advocate for this to get approved.
And you want to emphasize that it's continuation of a levy, it's not a new one.
That's right.
You're not gonna raise taxes.
Right.
That's not the intent.
Yep. The intent would be to try to keep it as similar as it is right now, with also keeping in mind inflation and how that kind of hits us too. But we'll kind of look at that once we get there. So, so no action on this, but it's just this is a big time awareness piece that we want
Keep
to
it
make
front
sure.
and center in
Yeah.
everybody's mind.
So we'll
You don't want it to expire and forget.
right.
And you're looking at either a special election September or regular September election or November of this year.
Of this year, yeah. And then the purpose of doing that, so we'd be able to, so we can put it on for the general election in November. And if for some reason it fails, we would still have the option to push it into March, which would give us another opportunity at it. I think that the sooner that we can do it, once the 23-24 school year starts, the better.
But you're right, it could be in September also.
We
You're right.
could, we could. There's some pros and cons to doing that. I mean, we kind of eat the bill for the election, that September, because it's right at the beginning of September, or right in the middle of September. It can be a tough time. When you think about parents, they just come off of buying all new school clothes and books and and everything else, and then it's like, oh hey, by the way,
Well, and I think the jail referendum is going to be in September as well.
Okay.
And
This would be a good thing to.
that could help and or hurt us in that you would have people coming out, maybe more people coming out, maybe. I could see that might be not a good thing, to be tied in with that.
Yeah.
At the same time, if there are people that feel really strong in one way or the other with the jail. So,
Yeah. And I think, just keeping in mind, so then we all know, starting the conversation on that is great.
So you'll probably see this several times on agendas.
My goal is to just continually put it on every month, just to continue to talk about it before we really go after it and really decide when we're gonna put it on for vote. We'll
And on that last slide, it shows that there is a timeline. You've only got so many days, to get it planned. On the second page, there's an actual calculator to figure out if you have a November election, how soon you need to approve it to get it to on the ballot.
Rick has a question.
could we answer it after for you, or is there
Sure.
something? Okay, I'll stay around till whenever, just let me know. Okay, so we don't need a motion or anything?
Nope, we do not.
Okay, well then, I would look for a motion for closed session.
Question. If he's got a question, you'll make him
Maybe
hang
you want to
around.
recess and then.
We're gonna go to recess and then go into closed
Okay,
session.
that way he doesn't have to hang out
Recess.
for.
Yeah, I need one too.
So 6:05 recess.
Okay, so
Are
can
we
we
at
get,
recess first, or do we need the motion for the?
we can,
I'll-
when we
We can recess
recess,
and we
we're
can do
gonna
the
go to
motion.
recess.
Okay, then we'll motion to go into closed session.
And that will let our
Recess.
hour-long government kids get out of here
You
too.
wanna put a time frame on recess?
We are coming back at 6:15.
Okay, thank you.